All right, today during a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing, Senator Josh Hawley engaged in a very tense back and forth with a Berkeley law professor over her commentary over whether or not men can get pregnant. Who would have thought it? Take a look.
Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important.
Because of my line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get pregnant.
So you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this? Where
No,
they're told that they're opening up people to violence?
We have a good time in my class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot just in this exchange.
Absolutely.
Extraordinary.
Yeah.
All right, here's Senator Hawley with reaction to that fiery exchange. Senator, I guess you're transphobic and you're, according to this professor, opening up trans people to violence by not recognizing them. At no time during that exchange did I see you didn't acknowledge that there are people that are transgender.
Here is the modern Democrat Party today, Sean. It is that you have to say that men can get pregnant, and if you don't say it, then you are a bigot and you are responsible for violence. I mean, that is the party line. Let's not forget who invited this witness. She was there as a Democrat witness. You didn't see a single Democrat disagree with that. In fact, they're all over social media applauding her and saying, oh, that's exactly right. It's not exactly right. It's exactly crazy, which is why voters are running screaming away from the Democrat Party. This is craziness. And I tell you, Sean, they are so out of touch with America. It's just, you can't even make this stuff up.
All right, so when she says to you and asks you a question, I guess offering you a test, do you believe that men can get pregnant? And your answer was no, I don't think men can get pregnant. That led her to state that that means that you deny the existence of trans people. Okay, so if she's saying that somebody was biologically born a woman, that now considers themselves a man, you acknowledge some people do that, and some people go through whatever surgery they have. But there's no biologically born male that I know of, and I like to follow the science that I'm aware of that would be capable of, as a biological man of bearing a child. Is that not a fact?
I think it's a fact, Sean, and you know what? But for today's Democrats and Democrat leaders, it's not only not a fact, it is religion to them that you affirm that men can get pregnant, and if you don't say it, then you are responsible for violence. I mean, this is their line. By the way, Sean, these are the same people, the same Democrat leaders who want to force young women to compete against biological men in girls' sports. I mean, now we know why. If for all the parents out there like, why in the world do all of these Democrats want to eliminate girls' sports? Now you know why. They don't believe there is any such thing as a woman. Not really, and they think that if a biological man wants to claim to be a woman, hey, that's fine, and we all have to accept it, or else we're bigoted and violent. It's just crazy.
All right, so this gets into 2 big issues. Number one, age appropriateness in terms of what we teach our kids. This is an issue now that has come up pretty much all across the country, and that is, okay, we have to teach first graders, second graders, third graders about gender identity. I don't think that's particularly age appropriate. And the idea that you can be born biologically a man and then identify as a woman and be transgendered and then compete in female sports, As Caitlyn Jenner has said on this program, I don't really care what your testosterone levels are now. What were they when you hit puberty? That would be the time that would matter the most.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I just don't think that you're going to find many parents in this country. I mean, I say this as a parent of 3 kids, 3 little kids. I don't know many parents who say, yeah, I want my young girl, I want her to have to play against biological males. I want them to be in her locker room. I want them to be in her safe spaces. I thought the left was all about safe spaces, but not for women, not anymore, not for young women. It's a crazy agenda, Sean. Like, nobody supports this agenda. I mean, what, 2% of the population maybe? It's craziness. And to hear Democrats say this stuff and insist that we all affirm it. It's not just that it's their opinion. I mean, sure, you can have whatever opinion you want, but to insist that we have to agree that women should play men's sports, we have to agree that men can get pregnant, or else we are predators. I mean, that's just insane. It is truly insane.
Now you're getting into a really important part of all of this. Either you agree with everything the professor is saying, or you're transphobic, 1, 2, you're putting people's lives at risk, that would cause threats to their lives, or 3, that would cause them to have a risk of suicide. That is patently unfair if you are asking an honest question about how do you define a man, how do you define a woman, and is it your contention that biologically born men can have children? That would be a fair question. And if you don't give the right answer, then you get labeled a transphobic. You get the transphobic tattoo, literally etched into your forehead.
Well, and what they use that as an excuse for, Sean, the left that is to censor speech. And you could see that's where this witness was going today, is that, oh my goodness, your questions can lead to violence, therefore you shouldn't be asking them. I mean, that was the import of what she said to me, is that, oh, you shouldn't be asking these questions. And we see the left saying that everywhere. If you question biological men and women's sports, you're a bigot and you need to be shut down. We see it at school board meetings. Parents raise these questions. They're called domestic terrorists. This is the left's tactic. You agree with them, or else they will shut you down, censor your speech, and tell you you have no rights.
Right,
and again,
this
is
solution.
Why voters are saying it's crazy.
All right, instead of indoctrinating kids, a captive audience in a classroom, why don't we let these other creatures that are called parents, moms and dads, why don't they instill the values in their kids? And then we focus on something we've forgotten about a long time ago, even though we spend more per capita on kids for education than any other country in the industrialized world with the worst results. Why don't we teach them reading, writing, math, science, and computers, and let's say let the parents instill the values, or if some parents are uncomfortable about these topics, you can offer opt-in after-school programs, offer parents a curriculum, and if they want to buy into it, they can buy into it all they want, but don't take away the educational opportunities and the time that needs to be focused on the main subjects. How's that? That's a fair compromise, no?
Yeah. I would say that sounds pretty good. I mean, what a concept to actually teach kids lessons and information, knowledge they can use. Think about this, though, Sean. This Democrat witness today, she's a professor, I think, at Berkeley. So her students are paying, I don't know, $60,000, $70,000 a year to be taught this craziness. Go figure.
Well, you pay a lot you get quality education everywhere. Senator, great exchange. Fascinating times. Thank you for being with us.